David brought us upriver, and there's a lot of shallow parts. We got the drone, we gotta put it together, and then the dam's just right up there. We're at a weir dam right now, so it maintains the water level for the main gates on the International Water Commission is in charge of the weir dam.
What's that?
And they told us to leave. So the river's international waters, but the land on the side is private. So we couldn't land there, and we gotta find a place to take the drone off. David, you're an excellent guide. And we got like a little beach on this island, so we're gonna try to fly up from here. I think this is about the closest we're gonna get, but we caught sunrise. It was clear, and the water's crispy and like 60 degrees.
A lot of little minnows, and I get all my live bait.
We just stopped at this spring on the way down. Beautiful, it's like a greenish color. Little minnows in here. One of the secret spots.
It means an illegal's been here. They always use these bags to put their clothes in or go across the river.
They just drop it on the edge. And
Yeah, they'll drop it. I'll find them, tons of them on my side,
yeah.
but you never see them, you know, they're...
Yeah, they're sneaky.
Yes.
See, van life is like a novelty now for a lot of kids.
Yeah.
You took it on. It was an upgrade, huh?
4 kids in that van for 7 years. And they hate it. They say, Papa, only my older daughter says, no, don't ever sell it. Make it into a flower bed when it finally conks out. Actually, I grew up in a very wealthy U.S. family. Everybody knows the name. Most people know the name. I don't want to say it too much, but, you know, with really expensive Learjets and fancy French cooks and estates and everything. And I started reading the Bible, so I decided I'm going to go live with the poor people. And I just took off on a 10-speed bike heading south, thinking I was going to Argentina. Ended up stopping in Guatemala after 2 months through Mexico. A lot of stories. Be here all day if I was going to tell them all. And then I ended up living 14 years in Guatemala, and I wanted to see what it was like to earn $1 a day, to work, to be on the other end of the line, and learn more appreciation for the little things in life. So I worked the first 2 years in Guatemala. I earned 75 cents for a 9-hour day.
I guess it worked.
It worked. The Mayans taught me way more than I can ever. I lived with the Mayans, and they taught me all the herbs, all the natural things to eat, because they were too poor to buy them, really. So.
And then you raised 4 kids driving around Mexico?
Yeah, we raised 4 kids. We lived 7 years in that old Toyota van. And we had a tent, and we lived on ranches. We lived in Nicaragua, we lived in Mexico, we lived in Panama, Costa Rica. We spent even about probably 9 months in Canada. We camped the whole winter up on a frozen lake in Montana. And the kids never complained because they didn't know yet what a luxurious life was. And even the people that saw us were totally amazed. They would tell me, I can't believe it. If my kids were one day out in that tent, they would be crying and complaining and everything. Your kids are happy and smiling, running around.
Healthy?
Healthy.
Eating off the land?
Yeah, they never got sick.
How old are you?
62. I'll be 62 this year.
62.
Yeah.
And carrying boat motors and gas tanks up and down the bank like no big deal. What percentage of your food would you say you gather?
Probably about 80%.
And you attribute that to your good health?
Yep, definitely. Because none of my kids went to school one day. So I valued my time with them as the most important, as a priority.
Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't have to pay a lot of rent, I would suffer luxury to not have to pay a lot of money, so I didn't have to work a lot, so I could spend the time with the kids, basically.
Yeah.
And then we painted up the place, and then the Baptist preacher that kind of owns the place now, he comes down and started charging us rent. Because as soon as we got the place nice.
Yeah.
It's not nice inside, but, just typical preacher.
Do you ever have any troubles with Mexicans?
No, nothing. Well, we do have trouble with some thieves. But basically they just steal stuff. They're cowards. They're not violent or anything. They just want to steal stuff and take it back to Mexico. That's all.
Then they run back.
Run back to Mexico, right. And
that seems to be the biggest problem.
That's the biggest problem, but you can't really blame them because they look at what we have and they have so little, and there's so much excess here, I can't blame them myself.
You seem to be a very spiritual man. Even you're Christian, yeah.
Yeah, more or less. I don't go to church. People go to church to talk about their job, not about Jesus or what he did, not about God's grace. Occasionally they do. There are some good churches. There are some good people. And,
without a doubt.
Yeah, there's good people, in the middle of everywhere. So my relationship's so strong with God. I mean, I can go sit out there every morning and just pray to God and say, hey, I want to see something, I'm bored. And the beaver will come swimming by me, or pelicans will come land right in front of me or something,
Yeah.
Or the osprey will come by and catch a fish.
You've never been to Asia, right?
Well,
that's your new mission,
yeah, that's
right?
where I've been going to Vietnam now. The last year and a half I've been going to Vietnam.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I caught you at home. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hey, Colin, take care. Yeah.
Meeting David last night was one of those God things. This morning, I have been absolutely fascinated by stories of raising kids in a van, driving around Mexico, organic farming in Guatemala, violence, love. The stories go on. So, you meet those people sometimes and you just think, oh, they should write a book. Well, the stories I've been hearing are definitely worthy of a book. Thanks again for taking me out. I had no idea that part of the Rio Grande was so beautiful. The clear water, the reeds, all the birds and wildlife along it. That giant spring in Mexico that we stopped at. He even showed me some trails where illegals cross. The land down here is really cheap. Waterfront property on the river. A lot goes for like somewhere between $5,000 and $25,000. I'm gonna venture to say that might be the cheapest waterfront property in America. It's about $140 now. I'm headed back to Del Rio because we may be going back out on the lake tonight, and there's no cell service out here. Tail sail in Mexico, but I can't use it without paying international roaming charges. Back to civilization. Oh yeah, and we got some wild honey. That's what he collects. He has collected wild honey all over New Mexico, mostly. Just going up to hives and taking it from them. It's medicine. Best thing for allergies you can take. All the pollens that make you sick are inside of that honey, and it's like a vaccine for allergies. Living off the land is super healthy. There's just no if, and, or but about it. Closer to the earth that we eat, the healthier we will be.